Hey, what's up, everyone? What's up? Welcome back. Welcome to this Cloud Confidence Clinic. I'm going to talk to you today about why most cloud learners fail and the four psychological traps that keep you stuck. If you don't know me, my name is Broadus Palmer. I am Cloud Career Coach and founder of Level Up in Tech, where we help mid-career professionals level up their career in tech by learning how to solve problems as a cloud engineer without wasting time on content and projects that don't get them hired. All right. Every we was doing these daily, but every so often I do these cloud confidence clinics because I want to give you the value that you need to move forward and get your mindset right to be able to land these roles in a tough market that's out here. All right. So, really, what I'm saying is by the end of this live, you'll understand exactly what's secretly keeping you from landing a role. And even if you're doing the work, right? While learning more isn't helping you. And the three steps every successful cloud engineer follows in the right order to get hired. All right. So if you can hear and see me well, put the LUs in the chat. I just want to make sure before I give this value, people can hear me because I don't want to be talking and someone says, I can't hear you. Okay. So put the LUs in the chat if you can hear, you can see me well. I just need that. Okay. Before we get started, let me take a little sip of my ginger ale. Where's my ginger ale? I think I left it in the room. I ain't got no ginger ale, y'all. Lord, y'all know black folks need ginger ale. All right. So put the LUs in the chat now. I want to make sure y'all can hear and see me well. Let me check all my platforms here. Let me check LinkedIn, make sure that's rocking with me. That looks like we rocking. Let's get Instagram on board. Okay. All right. Everything looks good. Everything looks good. Cool. All right. All right, cool. Y'all can hear me. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready to learn something? Because you know, we talk mindset a lot, and that's really important. But I really want to teach you the things that you need to be doing along with your mindset. Let me get my glasses straight. Y'all know my glasses. All right. So I really want to teach you the things you need to be doing along with the right mindset, right, to land this cloud role in this economy right now. You might be seeing a little bit more of some competition out there. So how do we stand out? Like, what are the right things for us to do? Okay. All right, cool. Good evening from Florida. All right, what's up? What's up? All right, so let's be honest. All right, you probably watch tons of cloud videos. And I know you've taken tons of courses, maybe even spun up an S3 bucket or two, and yet nothing's moving for you. And you're doing what everyone tells you to do. You probably consulted 1,000 different people and you're doing everything. And somehow you still feel like you're not moving anywhere. Today, I want to break down why. Because it's not your fault, right? It's how the system teaches you to fail. It's the system itself. All right, let me cut my phone off because people gonna be hitting me up. Y'all probably can hear the phone already. So I'm gonna jump into the meat and potatoes because I don't want to waste your time. All right. So trap number one is the knowledge hoarder. What's that? What's the knowledge hoarder, bro? Well, you think you're doing more, and you think that doing more is making more progress or equals to making more progress, but it's not. All right. What's actually happening is you just a Udemy profile full of courses that you may not finish. You have a Pluralsight profile of courses that you may not finish, may not have finished. All right. And you're never building anything. Never. And I want y'all to really understand one thing when it comes to this, right? I want you to really listen to what I'm about to tell you. If it doesn't produce a portfolio, it doesn't produce income. So, what does that mean? Well, okay, you can watch all the courses that you want. If you're not building anything out of what you're learning, showing that you can solve problems, then you're not going to get paid to solve those problems. You're just literally watching movies, watching short series. Maybe you can regurgitate some stuff that you heard before in those courses or in those video lessons. But when it comes to getting hands on, you can't tell me anything about it. If I'm the person that's interviewing you, you can't tell me about nothing that you've learned, or you can't show me nothing that you learned, but yet you expect to get paid. If it doesn't produce a portfolio, it doesn't produce income. All right. So let me just make sure on our Instagram, I got, people. Okay, cool. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop questions in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer, take the time to answer as we go through this. All right. Um, Trap number two is what we call the sequence skip. All right, what does that mean, bro? This was a sequence skip. Okay. You jump into different tooling before learning the foundations. So, for instance, you jump into Terraform without actually learning proper programming structure, right? You jump into Kubernetes without even understanding what servers actually do, what virtual machines actually do. You may jump into EKS without even understanding properly what an EC2 instance is. All right. So understand that order creates the output. I always tell people that I'm talking to, and I just was talking to a gentleman earlier today in a call, and I said, "Hey, man, process equals profits." And he was like, "Okay, every single organization that have processes, they are making money because they have a process to make that money." So this gentleman was he worked at a gym. He was front desk at a gym, and I said, "I guarantee you, your gym has a process that you have to follow when new customers come in to get them to sign up." He was like, "You're absolutely right. Yes, because if they don't, how do they become profitable? How do they make their money?" And each step of that process builds on itself. Like if you go from step one to step four and miss step two and three, you may not close that client to join your gym because you didn't follow the order. You didn't follow the sequence to even make them want to join the gym, right? What if step two and three was showing them the benefits of using the gym and then showing them maybe machines or equipment that specifically helps them with their goal? Because step one, you talk to them about their goal, and step four is to close, right? But you skip step two and three and you went to talk to them about their goals, and now you went straight to step four, which is to close. You're not going to do that. The sequence is the skill multiplier. So when we talk about these things, this means do not skip the foundational level first. When I was getting into tech, I wanted to learn cloud so much that people was like, "Hey man, learn, server administration first. Learn Linux and everything." I was like, "I'm not learning Linux. I want to learn the cloud. Like I'll learn Linux later. Like I'm trying to whole time, like the cloud is just a bunch of Linux servers or you know what I'm saying?" So I had to, as I was going into learning the certifications, right? Going into solutions architect, getting deep into it, I had to really backtrack to really understand what I was doing because I knew nothing about server administration. I didn't understand how this thing worked. So don't skip the basics. Step one, two, three, and four all compound on each other. The order creates the output. The process equals the profit. Don't go into Docker, Kubernetes if you don't really understand how virtual machines work, just because someone told you that's what you should be learning. Well, if you feel that strongly about it, then you need to put it on your next thing to learn after you learn the foundationals. Am I talking to somebody here? Raise your hand if I'm talking to you. It's okay that we skip the basics. I tried it. I just told you I tried to skip the basics myself and I couldn't. I had to go all the way back to square one because I realized skipping those foundations gave me such a roadblock that I couldn't even comprehend what I was learning. And some of you are right there right now. And it's okay. Put your hands up. I'm gonna put my hand up too, because I was right there. Put your hand up if you ever been there or you right there right now. I want to see. And it's okay. We just want to make everyone feel comfortable with the place that they're in. Because if that's what you're doing now, we're going to rewire your mindset so you don't do it anymore. Okay. Trap number 3 is validation, seeking validation. All right. So, or not seeking validation, excuse me. So, we always study in silence. We always do things by ourselves. We don't have any feedback. We don't have any collaboration. We don't even have no accountability, no community. So, understand this like, you can't correct what you can't see, you can't correct what you don't know. So, for all of you that are studying in silence because you feel like you're going to look stupid if you ask for help or you post something or you do something that's wrong. The failure of it is the process that is forging you into the engineer that you need to be, forging you into the engineer. So, how are you going to get better if you have no one around you to show you the things that you need to do to get better? That's a huge learning curve that you're taking by yourself, simply because we fear how we look more than the destination we're trying to get to. Understand how many times Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, whoever had to fail at basketball. Like, Mike didn't even get picked for his high school basketball team. My pastor just talked about that in church Sunday. Mike didn't get picked for his basketball team, right? How many shots did they miss? How many game winning shots did they miss over the years to be able to perfect the game winning shots that they took when it actually mattered? They had to be comfortable with looking crazy and taking those risks and getting people that can help them become better. LeBron spends $1 million a year on his body and training and everything and making sure he has to pull those people around him to be able to continue to be elite. And we are sitting in silence, not even asking. Think about it. We have people sometimes in our coaching calls that don't raise their hand because they're scared of asking questions because they're scared of what they're going to look like. Meanwhile, when you get into a role, one of the most important things that our partners talk to us about is getting people to speak up and give advice on solutions that they may think can work because they hired you for your creativity and your value. So we have to get out of working in silence now. Some people keep this habit and get a project, and let's say you get in a role and you get a project and you work and you're like, it's not working. Okay, I got to figure out how to make this work, because if I don't figure out how to make this work, then I'm gonna lose my job. The crazy thing is, you think what you shouldn't do is going to, like, you think what, if you think, excuse me, let me get my thoughts together. You think that reaching out, telling people you have a problem, and getting that collaboration and feedback is going to make you lose your job because you're going to look like the person who don't know what they're doing. Meanwhile, that's the thing that's going to help you keep your job. What you think you're doing now is the best form, is the thing that's going to make you lose your job. Because what's going to happen is you're going to sit here in silence, try to crank out something, try to get it done. And when they reach out and say, "Hey, where are we on this thing with this project?" You're gonna say, "Oh, you know what? I've just been last couple of weeks. I've been dealing with this and the other," and they're going to say, "Why didn't you reach out to us? Like we could have helped you in 5 minutes, and you've been sitting in silence for the last week, where we got this project due in the next couple days." That's going to make you even look crazier. Understand me? Hey, listen, are you getting something out of this already? If so, put LUs in the chat. I just want to make sure. Are you getting something out of what I'm talking about right now? Put the LUs in the chat. So you can't correct what you can't see, and you don't know what you don't know. So feedback is the fastest form of clarity. Asking questions is the fastest way to learn. Having that accountability system is the fastest way to be productive. Because while you think in one way, it's the other way. All right. Put the LUs in the chat. If you're getting something out of this, if you have any questions, make sure you put it in the chat as well. Let me make sure no one has questions on Instagram. Let me check my Facebook too. Y'all know how that go. Excuse me, y'all. Check my Facebook here. Okay, cool. All right, cool. All right, so let's push this up real quick. Is there a limit of how many times you can go to experienced engineers to help? I've seen the feel that getting help from someone you don't know doesn't always help. Well, here's the thing: if they're on your team and they're more senior, right? That's their job. Like a senior engineer's job, I'm pretty sure when they got the job description said mentor junior engineers. So if you're asking for help and no one on your team that's more senior than you are getting help, giving you help, or they're giving you crap about getting that help, that's not the company you should be working for. Or, I mean, to be honest with you, I'll just go to the manager. I mean, I don't want you to be a tattletale, right? Get my glasses straight. Y'all know this stuff. I don't want you to be a tattletale, right? But I want you to understand that if I'm a senior engineer and you're on my team and you just got there and you asking for help, regardless if you know me or not, you're on my team. The outcome of this project, the output of our department is the priority, right? So if you don't get your job done, we all look bad most of the time. Sometimes I'm just being super transparent. Some people will, let you sink or swim, and that's not the company you need to be at, right? So if you feel that way, then it may be time to either go to your manager and talk about it, or it's time to look for something else. All right. So you should never be ashamed. How many times, as many times as it takes, but you want to you want to learn how to ask clarifying questions. You want to learn how to ask clarifying questions for the first round or second, right? Ask the best questions that you need to ask. You can use ChatGPT or whatever, so you can get all the information that you need to have, so you don't come back 4 or 5 times with knick-knack questions that you could have asked the first or second time, right? The process of an engineer is really thinking, and learning how to communicate is thinking about the right questions to ask as an engineer and to be trusted. Because if you keep picking these questions and coming back, piecing, when you could have asked them the first time, then it just looks like a lack of growth. Now, for the first time you're doing it, right? So let's be um informed questions. Yeah, thank you, EG. Yeah, they're calling informed questions, asking informed questions, where the first time you come to someone with questions, you might come back and forth, but you begin to quickly learn how to ask those questions that you need. And if there's senior engineers, or even, because if you're new the engineers that are working on your team are more senior on that team. So if they're giving you slack about what you are asking questions or coming for help, that may not be the team. I'm just being super transparent. So thank you for that question. All right, LU, cool, cool. I'm glad you're getting something out of this. Cool, Kendra. Thank you for joining. All right. So that's the thing, right? You don't know what you don't know. So you need to have that accountability, that collaboration, that community that's around you. Okay. Trap number 4, we call it the proofless performer. So you've done the work, right? But you can't show it. You don't have a GitHub. What's a GitHub? You don't have a GitHub. You don't have any project workthroughs, walkthroughs. It's nothing that a recruiter or hiring manager can see. All right. And right now, you need to understand this is something I always say. And as I was talking to the gentleman earlier today, I told him this too. You are not an employee looking for a job. You're a business who are looking to build their services and sell them to the right customer. Now, as a business, do you think the customer is going to buy from someone who has no portfolio of how they can solve their problem? So, for instance, if you are a carpenter who claims to redecorate bathrooms to the highest degree, but you have no pictures, no before and afters, no videos, no anything, no customers, not even customers talking about how wonderful you are, right? You have none of that. How can you expect someone to reach in their wallet and write a check to you and pay you to solve the problem? Think about it. How can you expect that? You're not even showcased. Like, I don't even know what you can do. And before you touch anything in my house, I need to see. I need to understand what you bring to the table. Okay. So I was talking to another gentleman this week in my DMs, and he's worked with VMware, Kubernetes, OpenStack, and he said literally, he said this. He said, I just want to understand cloud like a surgeon. And that's the right mindset. Okay. But without structure, process, etc., even surgeons can cut wrong, at the wrong time, the wrong thing, etc. But all of these things come together, right? So let's run through them one more time. Okay. The knowledge hoarder, right? You think because you got all these courses on Udemy, you're finna go to the moon. Meanwhile, you finishing 20% of this course, 30% of that course, 8% of this course, and you're just course collecting, and you're not even getting hands on. You're not even doing any of the labs. So you barely understand what an EC2 instance is. You barely understand what storage is, right, in the cloud. You barely understand how a virtual network or virtual private cloud works. And you haven't even built anything. So that means if it doesn't produce a portfolio, it doesn't produce income. All right. Number 2 is a sequence step. So you try sequence skip, excuse me. You're trying to skip the fundamentals or skip the process to learn things that somebody told you to learn because you think it's the fast track to get you a job. And the whole time you're doing yourself a disservice because, like, how, once again, how are you going to understand how containers and then orchestration of those containers, how that works if you don't even understand how virtual machines work, how an application on a server works, right? How the networking within that server works. You can't, right? How do you understand uh, Terraform that's written in HashiCorp language if you never even got a little bit of an understanding of how programming actually works, or how to program. Excuse me. You know, if you never even work with a high level language like Python, right? Just to script a little bit, even Linux, right? Just to script Bash, just to script a little bit. How are you going to understand how infrastructure as code work? It is still code, and you still need to understand how this flows, right? How modules work, how dependencies work. You need to understand all of these things. All right. We get number three, right? The validation void. You're studying in silence. You have no feedback, you have no collaboration, you have no accountability. So you can't correct what you can't see. So this is vital. The number three is vital because this is a habit that people take into the workforce of being silent. And then they mess up something, or just because they were silent, they didn't get in something done on time. And we see this in the so I want to say something real quick just to give you an understanding. We see this in our program a lot as well, where some folks are scared to ask the question, and then they ask the question after spending an hour on something, 2 hours, or a day, and they get the answer quick in like 5 minutes, and automatically that creates a level of imposter syndrome. Well, like, oh my God, see, you got it in 5 minutes, and it took me 4 hours to get this. But that's the forging. That's the forging. That's the journey that you need to go through to understand, you know what, maybe I should ask questions sooner. It's not the lack of progress or the lack of your ability to do it. It's the fact that you didn't collaborate and ask the question sooner. You didn't seek help sooner. And do not carry that into the workplace. You need to create a habit of asking questions. Even if you are working on a project and you decide to post that project on LinkedIn and it's unfinished, and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. This is the problem I'm trying to solve. This is where I'm stuck at. Anyone have any idea on or can point me in the right direction? You know what that does? Let me tell you what that does. That is actually a marketing tactic in itself. If you can get out of your comfort zone and share those vulnerabilities, what's going to happen is you're going to have see more senior engineers help you with your project. And what does that do? What does that do? That opens the door for relationships to be built, because now you could be in the inbox asking questions, talking about your journey, or you can even be on a call. Like, hey man, you got time to jump on a quick Zoom coffee, what I mean, coffee Zoom, whatever. Get on there and you can now build the relationship. And now that person can recommend you for things. Or even if they don't recommend you for a role, if something pops up in their organization that's a junior level role, or etc., you're going to be one of the first people that they talk about. If they don't have a right hand person that they've been working with, you're going to be one of the first people they talk about, because they actually work with you and helped you on a project, and they seen you solve these type of problems. That is a gem in itself. So you need to get outside of that comfort zone and really focus on showing your vulnerabilities, because that can help you land a role. A lot of people are so, I don't want to show that side of me. Well, sometimes companies look at individuals like that, like, hey, this person is not scared to share what's not working for them, and they're not scared to get out here and roll up their sleeves to figure out how to solve this problem. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you need to understand. And then trap four is the proofless performer. You've done the work, but you can't show it. You don't have a GitHub. You don't have any project walkthroughs. You don't have a Medium that's documenting your projects. Nothing that recruiters or hiring managers can see. And people are not going to buy that. All right. If you don't have any portfolio right now, you can create your own portfolio. You can just create an HTML file that kind of just builds a front end site for you. You can host it on a cloud storage service like S3 or cloud storage in GCP or Blob and Azure. And you can continue to just put your projects there that are static or even add videos, right? One of the most, so you're a brand. And as a business, if you're building a service, your skills, how are you marketing yourself? How are you going to stand out amongst all the other people who are doing what you're doing to showcase your ability to solve problems? Well, if you're not showcasing your proof, you're doing what 90% of them doing already, right? They're just applying with no proof. But if let's say you say, you know what, I'm just going to go to extra level and I'm going to showcase my problem solving abilities on Loom. I'm going to create a video. That video is going to garner some attention. Somebody's going to watch it. And while you think, oh, it's only beginners that's behind me that's going to watch it. No, somebody that could be working in a role that may not know what you're doing, right? If you're working with, let's just say Terraform again, and they haven't worked with Terraform, and you got a neat little project that you've shown on this Loom video, they're going to watch it and they're going to say, you know what? Kendra has been showcasing all types of videos. And we just got this role open. I think I'm gonna reach out to her because she actually taught me something. That's how the mindset of someone that's watching you works. They're not looking at you like, oh, that's stupid. They're not doing that. They're looking at you. Little do you know, even if you don't feel like an expert, you're actually putting yourself out there to be one. And that's what organizations want to see because they want to see if you engage with their customers. How are you going to be? How can you talk to a customer that's non-technical to teach them what you're doing? Understand? That's exactly what building a portfolio can do for you in so many ways. You think it's just project building, putting it out there. No, it's a whole branding and marketing mechanism that goes with this that you actually need in order to get hired. All right. Somebody said I was having a conversation with my sister about comfort zone and trying to sell yourself to tech recruiters. She sold herself better than me and she's not in the tech. But here's the thing, right? You don't really have to sell yourself if you're doing the work that solves their problem, right? Like if you need bleach, Clorox don't have to sell themselves, right? Or the store brand bleach doesn't have to sell themselves. They just need to solve your problem. You go into the bleach aisle or you go into the aisle with bleach. You're not, all you have to do is just look like who, if a store doesn't have bleach, you're like, well, they ain't got bleach. I mean, I don't want nothing else. I want somebody that can help me, whatever I'm cleaning or whitening my clothes, whatever it is. Proof of service equals completion, professional integrity plus verified experience plus operation compliance. It serves both as a technical artifact for audits and compliance and career asset for credibility and advancement. For a cloud computing professional, maintaining PSCs across engagements builds a transparent, trust based reputation, essentially in today's service driven multi cloud economy. Yep, that's actually true. Because if they can trust you and what you're saying and what you're doing right now, when they bring you onto the organization, you're already building yourself to do that. You understand? This journey right here, the things that you're doing, getting outside of your comfort zone, is building you to just take on the bigger challenges in the workforce. All right. So let me make sure Instagram, no one has questions on there. Okay. I got to flop back and forth, y'all. All right. So you need a clear vision, you need a portfolio, and you don't really need to move faster. You just need to move in sequence and steps. And that's the gap between people who stay learning and stay in the student mode per se, then and then those who really become engineers. They follow those four steps. They avoid those four traps. Meanwhile, you know that you are avoiding the trap. I mean, yeah, you know you are in the trap and you're not trying to avoid the trap, excuse my language. And you know that this is a trap that's keeping you from the next level. Yet, we avoid doing the real work and the execution to move ourselves out. Why is that? Why is that? Because we don't have a system and we're scared. So when you don't have two of those things, you tend to kind of stay in place because you tend to only do what's comfortable. And what's comfortable is not going to move the needle in you landing a high paying role in cloud, especially in 2026 coming up. So here's how we fix all of that with the learn it, lab it, and level up system. So step one, you need to learn it. Information integration. Pick a cloud. Brothers, what's the best cloud? I get that all the time. It doesn't matter. Oracle, AWS, GCP, it doesn't matter. Just focus on one right now. Learn by doing, not memorizing. Focus on 20% of the concepts that power 80% of the jobs. So those concepts are IAM, virtual machines, EC2, right? Storage, which is S3 and AWS, virtual networks, right? Networking, and the command line. Just those five basics, those five fundamental things is focusing on solving 80% of the problems that companies need engineers to work on. All right. Step two, you're gonna lab it. So practice, practice, practice. This morning, I posted a post about doing something so much that it gets boring, and that's how confidence gets built. Well, we practicing, right? We building something. You can start by building something small every week, right? I don't want you to really chase certifications right now. You need to chase completions. You need to complete what you start, right? So every lab you finish needs to solve a problem that attracts someone at a company that you want to work for. And you need to do that multiple times so you can get comfortable and you not only stop expecting what can happen because you already know what's going to happen. You start expecting what happens next. And even if you hit some failures along the way, you're like, oh, well, if you do that, then I know you're probably going to get this type of failure. That's when you can start speaking to your projects in an interview and you show that you have the proof because you're talking about it, you know it, and you showcasing it right there. What do you mean by showcasing it? You pulling your projects up. This is what I've been labbing. This is what I've been practicing. Let me show you the problem that I've been solving. This project right here solves XYZ problem for your company here at ABC. And let me walk you through my process and what I did to solve this. Do you think somebody in the interview is going to say, no, we don't want to see that? Turn it here. We don't want to see that. Absolutely not. They want to see everything you're doing so they can make the right decision if you're the right person to solve their problem, right? And step three, level it up. Documentation. Turn every project into a story in your portfolio, into a story, a README file in your GitHub. And you can create architecture diagrams with diagrams.net or Lucid Chart and create a short video walkthrough. Use Loom. You can use Mac has videos right now. It might not show your face, but it can show the video walkthrough. You can use all types of software right now. That's how your name is going to be remembered. You do this over and over and over, and you keep posting and posting and posting, and you become the person trusted to learn some cloud skills from. And companies going to look at you to see what problems are you solving today. Because today you may be solving simple problems. Tomorrow it might be the right problem they needed someone to solve. Right? Most people think that building a portfolio is extra. It is not extra. It is the only thing that counts. Think about that. Most people I talk to think that building a portfolio is extra on what they have to do. And it is not. It's the only thing. Don't care how many certs you have. Don't care how many courses you worked or looked at or learned. It is the only thing that matters when you coming into trying to apply to a role and get hired so they can see you in as an asset. They can't see you in as an asset. No. So when you structure your learning this way, something wild happens. Each project or each quick start tutorial compounds on the next. Every lab you finish teaches you something different that you didn't even know that you needed for the next one. So think about it like investing. You are the best stock you could ever invest your money into. So, but just think about it for a moment. The first 3 months, you're just compounding knowledge. The next 3 months, you're compounding visibility. So within 6 months, you're building and compounding on your opportunity. So you can take your 90 days to learn, lab, and all of that. You can take your next 90 days to continue to lab and projects and level up and build your brain. And by month 6, you have all these things together. And it's a process that you continue to work every day and get better and better and better with. And now you're compounding on that next opportunity. Raise your hand if you got something out of this. I just want to make sure. I want to make sure I'm giving you some gems so you can move forward. Okay. So if you've been stuck trying to figure it out by yourself, stop. Stop, 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 stop. All right. What I want you to do is message me the word structure, and I'll send you a roadmap that others are using to try to land their first cloud role. And actually, I'm going to, you can either message me structure or you can highlight that barcode right there and join our community and have access to the roadmap as well. All right. So I want to make sure y'all got something out of this. Okay. Let me push this up real quick. How do you build a portfolio and don't know the problem? I don't want to be an applicant that doesn't stand out. Well, number one, you have to research the company you work in because if you build in a portfolio, obviously it's a role that you're trying to get, right? And you probably have some companies out there that you're trying to apply to. So let's say you build some projects, right? Like S3 bucket. These are simple projects, right? Apache web server projects, etc. What problem does these projects solve? What do they solve? Let me take this media asset down real quick because it's blocking me. What problems do these projects solve? And also, if you're trying to work for a certain company, what problem do these companies solve? And if you're doing a project, how does it solve their problem? So start small. Really start with quick start tutorials. Like, oh, I learned this new tool. Let me just do a quick start to really figure out how it works. Then, bro, you got ChatGPT. ChatGPT can help you learn how this service solves a problem or this tool solves a problem. And then you can match it like, okay, well, I know this is how Capital One may use theirs. And you kind of do research on Capital One, ChatGPT. How does this service I'm learning help solve a problem in Capital One? Hey, can you give me a project that solves that problem? Boom. There you go. Right then and there. All right. So once again, either contact and comment structure, and I'll send you the roadmap, or highlight that QR code and get access to our community. Okay. All right. So I hope you got something out of this. None of this works if you don't take action. Okay. None of this works if you don't take action. None of this works if you don't stay consistent. Okay. This is your year. This year until next October, this is your year. Let's get it. Nothing holds you back right now. Nothing. Opportunities are out here. The resources are out here. The mentors are out here. Whatever you need, it is out here. Okay. So until next time, let's continue to level up the tech. Y'all know I love y'all. And I'll see you in the next one. All right.